Rat pudding.
Hello, so I thought today we'd have a very quick look at the Tatung Einstein. If you've looked at my previous videos, then you'll see that I've done quite a lengthy video there on the Tatung Einstein history, so I'm not going to go into that today. But one of the things that came from this was the Tatung Einstein Spectrum emulator, the Speculator. Now, my nostalgia is Sinclair related with the ZX Spectrum. I do love the Spectrum Next, I do love all retro computers, Amigas, that sort of thing, but my nostalgia is with, very firmly, the ZX Spectrum. So, very briefly, the Tatung Einstein had a fantastic keyboard, and it was very similar hardware-wise to the ZX Spectrum, but slightly enhanced. It had more memory, for example. So what some developers did was write their games on an Einstein and then trim the code back down to 48K and port it over to the ZX Spectrum. But one little device that came out around that time was an actual piece of hardware that you plugged into the pipe port on the back of the Einstein, which then emulated the ZX Spectrum, and it had the usual ear and microphone sockets in to allow you to load actual ZX Spectrum games into your Einstein. Now, I've never actually seen one of these devices in person myself, but they do intrigue me greatly. I have seen one item for sale on the marketplace that we all love to hate, and the seller was asking the price of £800 for this original Speculator. 800 quid! I do like my Spectrum games, I do like this Tatung Einstein, but I am not paying 800 quid, Charlie. Not a chance. So then step forward the wonderful guys of Simon Gould and Associates, who managed to get their hands on an old school Speculator, and basically what they did was pull it apart, just see what was inside it and see how this thing ticked, and try to make a modern day equivalent of it. Well, they've succeeded, and just this last week I managed to get my sticky little mitts on one of Simon's fabulous Speculators, and it is a lovely piece of kit. If you've got an Einstein and you do like your Specky games, I do suggest that you try and get hold of one of these devices, because they are fabulous. Now, if you went to is it Tatung Bytes, the website, which has hosted all sorts of things for Tatung Einstein stuff, all sorts of disk images and manuals and things like that. Very useful resource there. You can get hold of the original manual for the Speculator, and well, I'm not going to lie, I was ever so slightly overwhelmed when I started reading this. It's like 40 pages long, and it goes into the complexities of the loader for the Einstein to get the Einstein to recognise Spectrum games and load them in. And then there's a way of putting a blank disk into drive 0 on your Einstein and loading up the Spectrum games from a disc, so you don't have to use your cassettes anymore. So that's essentially where I was at, and I was pulling my hair out and just could not get this darn thing to work. So I'm very fortunate in the setup that I've got, because I've got an original 3-inch drive as drive 0, and I've got a Gold device as drive 1. So I'm able to put disk images on my drive 1 Gotek and an actual floppy disk in drive 0. Now, had I known about all this beforehand, and the fact that the Speculator will only run from drive 0, it refuses to look at drive 1, I may have chosen to do my hardware a little bit differently and put the Gotek as drive 0 and the original as drive 1. But, you know, hindsight's a wonderful thing, isn't it? So I have to make do with what I've got. So what I can do then is put a disk image in drive 1 and then use the system disk to make a backup of that image and put it onto a physical disk on drive 0. So on this Tatung Bytes website there are 27 further disk images, and each of these disks will contain 3 separate Spectrum games. So you've got about 80 games to go off there. So that's a fantastic resource. Thank you very much. I do not know the person that did these 27 images, so I can't thank you personally for it, but from the bottom of my heart I do thank you, because that is a wonderful piece of work that you've done there. So thank you very much, whoever you are. Right, so like I said, when you've loaded the game in on your cassette, then you can press, I think it's the F5 key, you hold down the F5 key and you press either 1, 2 or 3, and that will then save the game as F1, F2 or F3 on your physical disk. If you then want to reload these games, you simply find the emulator software itself, which is called SP1. You load that into your machine and then you press and hold F6 this time to load a game. So you hold F6 and then you press 1, 2 or 3 to load those respective game images. Now on these 27 disk images that I've got, the games are simply titled F1, F2 and F3. And I couldn't find a list anywhere of what games were on which disc, so it's kind of like a Specky Einstein tombola. Prize every time, but you haven't got a chuffing clue what you're getting until you physically load it up. So that's where I'm at the moment, and I'm working my way through these 27 disc images, and I think I'm up to about disc 10 I think I've done so far. So here we go. I can then go in and have a look at these, and I can give you a quick show of Specky games running on my Einstein.